So welcome to the session today. Today is session number 8 out of 8 before the elections on March 21st. So today being March 5th, we are going to work on communicating your issue today because I know some of you are already preparing and others are still building your campaigns and your teams. Oh gosh, there we go. So this is all the work that we've done so far, which is really amazing. Wow. We've already done women's history and leadership and heard from leaders who are local, state, and federal leaders. We've heard from a campaign strategist. We've worked on using our voices for debate. And today we have a special visitor who's going to talk to us about communicating for a campaign. And she is coming to us from the United Nations. Some of you may still be wondering about our plans for the field trip. Obviously, the state capitol building is still closed to visitors, so we're not going to be able to go physically there at the moment. But when it's safe and open, we can plan to do that hopefully sometime this summer. But we will definitely be in touch. Look out for emails from us about how that might happen. And we're looking forward to our campaign and election coming up later in March. So we're going to start out today with our mentor facilitator, who is Savannah. Savannah is from the Wilton High School class of 2025, and she was the Ms. President US Wilton from 2018. This is her first year as a Ms. President mentor. She loves to dance. She plays soccer and violin. And she's already got her Girl Scout Bronze Award, and she's working towards her Silver Award. Outside of school, she enjoys community service projects like Stay at Home Wilton, working with seniors on tech questions, and you might see her performing in her church's annual Christmas pageant. Savannah, thank you so much for volunteering to be a mentor facilitator today. I'm going to hand it over to you to introduce our guest.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I'll be introducing our guest speaker for today, Sarah Craven. She is the director of the United States Populations Fund Office in Washington, D.C. for the past 23 years, the Senior Advisor Office of Population at the U.S. State Department, the Senior Policy Advisor at CEDPA, now part of Plan International, the legislative staff for 2 U.S. senators, advocate for the education and rights of girls and women around the world, and she lives in Maryland with her family.
Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
Can we put a spotlight on Sarah?
Thank you so much. Hello. Hello, Savannah and everyone. Nice to be here. So, Savannah and Anne, do you have questions for me, or do you just want me to speak?
So I do have a couple questions for you, actually. Okay. If you could hear my dog barking in the background, just give me a moment.
Okay, I have 2 dogs, and one of mine might start barking too. So.
Okay, sorry, you have to go take him for a walk. That's my brother's gonna go do that now. Okay, so can you tell us what you do now and why your role is important?
Sure, so much. Well, I'm so happy to be here. I'm very lucky to have a job where I get to work for the United Nations. And I work, the United Nations is all countries of the world coming together to try to bring peace in the world and support the human rights of all people. And my job is to talk about the work of the United Nations, and specifically my organization, with US policymakers. So I talk to, I don't get to talk to the president, but I talk to people who work for President Biden and Vice President Harris, who work for the administration. I talk to members of Congress. I talk to the media and the American public. And what I try to talk to them about is how important it is for women and girls around the world to have opportunities to go to school, to be able to have access to good health care, to be able to make decisions about their lives, and that should be prioritized. So I feel like I'm very lucky. The kind of job I have is because I'm sort of a storyteller. I'm telling the story about the lives of women and girls around the world and trying to get the attention of important policymakers who have the power to make a difference by either getting money to support them or putting in policies or programs that might make a difference.
That's really, wow. That's really cool. What was your experience like in middle and high school, and how did it lead you to where you are today?
Oh, well, that's super interesting. I haven't thought about middle and high school for a while. I actually, I was going to can I tell a story about elementary school, or most of the young presidents middle school, or both elementary and middle? So anyway, I was going to tell a story, which was when I was a little girl. We had somebody come to my school, a woman come to come and meet with us to kind of like what you all are having today, but she sort of came to sort of inspire us about that we should all read. That was the lesson that we were told. So she asked all of us like what we wanted to be when we grew up, and all of my friends rose the hand and probably said they wanted to be teachers, or they wanted to be flight attendants maybe, or those were probably, or moms, they might want to be moms. So I said I wanted to be the first woman president of the United States. And this woman had never had anyone give that answer before. She was totally shocked. And so a few weeks later, I got called to the principal's office, and she had come back to the school and she brought me a present. And I have to tell you, I'd completely forgotten that story until a couple months ago. I was home visiting my mother, who's 95 years old, and I found the book that this lady had given me. And so here's the book she gave me. And you know what it is? It is, I can see if I can show you here. It's Eleanor Roosevelt's autobiography. And so at the time, that would have been the closest inspiration we had to who could be a woman leader. And so that's the gift I had. And I was very lucky to seek other women who were role models for me. So the congresswoman who was my hometown congressman at the time was a woman named Patsy Mink, and she tried to run for president. So back then it was like really like extraordinary. And now we have a vice president of the United States who's a woman, as well as so many women who ran for president. And certainly, of course, when Hillary Clinton ran for president. So I think back to my middle and high school days is that I very much wanted to be a leader, and I very much saw myself in kind of that role, but it seemed as like a dream that would never be realized. So when I see what all of you are doing and what you're learning about and how you're learning to be advocates and to speak out for things you care about, I get so excited. Like you are all growing up to be great leaders. So I don't know if that goes way back before middle and high school.
What's your proudest accomplishment so far?
Oh, well, I can answer it in a couple of ways. I'm very proud. I have 2 daughters and a son. I'm very proud of my children. And I'm very proud of what nice and intelligent and thoughtful young people they are. So I'm very proud of them. I actually would say something that I'm super proud of that I have done because of my work for the United Nations, but separately, is that, and maybe I'll work with your leaders, maybe she can come speak to a future group. But I got to meet a young woman, her name is Kakenya Nataya, and she's from Kenya. And she was the first girl in her village in Kenya to be able to go to high school, and then the first girl to be able to go to college. And so she went to college, and she went to college actually in the United States, and she made a bargain with her village and said, if you let me go to college, I will come back and I'll build a girls' school. So when I met her, she was pretty stressed out because she had made this huge promise and she had to figure out how to do it. So I and a couple other people helped her. And the first thing we did was we started buying cows. We got people who would buy a cow because in her village, one of the things that shows wealth is if you have cattle. So we bought cows for her mother, and that showed her community that, she was serious. So the community gave her a piece of land, and we started to talk to all the people we knew. And pretty soon we were able to build a school, and now we have 2 schools there. And if you look on Facebook today, I was so honored because so much time has gone by that a little girl was born and she was named Kakenya after my friend Kakenya. And that girl, Kakenya number 2, is going to college. And so she came back to talk to all the girls at the school about before she's going to college. And if you see the picture, it's like a rock star came to the campus. Everyone's so excited to find out what it's going to be like. So I'm the most proud that I was able to, in a small way, help to build those schools. And now lots of girls are getting to go to college. It's not like it's the first anymore. There's a lot of them.
So like those young girls that are now given the opportunity to go to college and high school and all those great things, what advice do you have for young girls today?
Well, I think my advice to you is to, speak out on things that you care about. Know that your voice matters, that you have something that you want to say, that people want to hear it, and think about ways that you can share that voice. So it might be, in your school that you see something that you want to change. And so figuring out a way to talk about it. My daughter saw that at her school, things weren't going very well there was no recycling program, and she couldn't believe they weren't recycling things. So she went to the principal and asked for a meeting and was able to get a recycling club and get that started. So you can do something in a small way, but you can also find, that you have a voice in a bigger way. Maybe you're going to find there's somebody in your community who you want to tell them about something that could make a difference for your school, or maybe an issue you care about, like wanting to help the environment or wanting to make sure that everyone has an access to a COVID vaccine. So you find the thing that you care about and then find a way to let people know why you care about it and how you want to be able to make a difference.
So Ms. Craven told us some really great stories. Do you guys have any questions for her? If you can raise your hand in the virtual chat, just so it's easier for me to call on people, that'd be great.
Perhaps if there's not a first question straight away, I'll throw in something. Sarah, you mentioned that you're a storyteller in your work, and I wonder if you have any tips for the girls about how you get people to listen to you.
Oh, well, I think I always try to find some way that I can maybe connect with the person to immediately establish some kind of rapport or connection. So maybe finding something that we share in common that can open the conversation. And then I try to think about what I'm trying to tell, what's the story that I'm trying to tell, what kind of change that I want to make. So I think if you somehow can tell a story that's very relatable, that people can understand, that builds that that understanding between the two of you, then they're going to be wanting to listen. They'll be like, oh, I'm very interested to hear that, because that maybe is going to be something that's important to me, as whether it's the principal of your school or it's a member of Congress who maybe wants to make a change. So again, I try to create some kind of connection between the two of us, some way that we see that we have a common purpose or a common bond. And then I try to talk in a way that feels very natural and relatable. I don't, sometimes I may not have the exact right words, but I don't kind of worry about that, because I always feel if you speak from the heart, that people can tell that they want to know that that what you're saying is sincere and true. So I think those are some of the things I think also always being truthful. And sometimes, if someone asks you if you don't know all the facts, that's okay too, that you can say that you'll get back to them and get them more information. But yeah, so I'd say that.
Marina, I think you had a question.
Yeah. So I know that you work for the United Nations, but would you prefer actually being president of the United States, like you said when you were younger, or would you try to be president one day, or is that do you like now that you've seen what it's like working for the United Nations, would you prefer that? Would you change it? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, what a great question. Okay, I don't think I would be very good as president now that I'm a grown up, because you have to travel all around the country and get people to convince to vote for you. And I think I wouldn't have I'd be too tired. So I really admire people who can do that, who have the power to be able to do that. But I would love to have the opportunity to talk to the president, and first of all, to thank him and to thank the vice president for the incredible leadership they're doing and for supporting issues that are important to me. So, but I'm really flattered that you would think that I could still be president. I will. That really made my day. And I guess my hope is that I maybe actually this is an interesting story. Back to Savannah's earlier question. Do you guys know who I went to high school with? This is an interesting story. I actually went to high school with somebody who did become president of the United States. I should have told you that. So you never know. Somebody on this call today may be president of the United States someday, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, Savannah was part of Ms. President, and she became president. Yeah, so I went to high school with, we called him Barry. Barack Obama and I were high school classmates. Yes. So, and he worked at Baskin Robbins, and we would go and he would scoop ice cream for us. And nobody would have thought that Barry Obama was going to be president of the United States. Not that he wasn't really smart, he was, but he was not in student government. I was captain of the debate team. He wasn't on the debate team. He played basketball. So he's an example of someone who went on and really found his voice, I think, in college and in law school, and became a community organizer. So I should have mentioned that. Yes, I guess because I was thinking he's not a woman, but he's certainly done a lot of great things for women.
That is really cool. That's a really cool story to tell. Emily, you had your hand up?
What's your main issue that you're focusing on, and why?
Well, I would say the issue that I really care about is girls' education. Because I think that in some parts of the world, girls don't get to finish going to school. Sometimes they have to drop out of school in about 6th grade. And there are a lot of reasons on why that happens. And so I really believe that everyone should be able to finish at least high school and hopefully go on to college. So that's an issue I care about a lot. And if I could work on one issue full time, I think that would be it. Girls' education.
Sydney, I think you had your hand up. Yeah.
Hello. My question is, what were the struggles that you faced to get your position?
I was lucky in the sense that somebody saw me and saw some of the work I was doing. And so they asked me if I'd be interested to come for the UN. And that doesn't always happen in life. Sometimes things don't happen like that. So I was pretty lucky, but getting to that point, I think getting into law school was really hard. I had to work very hard in college to get good grades and take what they call the LSAT, which is a test you have to take in order to get to law school. So getting into law school was a big struggle and a big challenge. And then taking something that's called the bar exam, which you have to take after law school. So all those, academic steps that I had to take were always a challenge. And so, I've been in this job a long time. I've been very lucky to be in this job a long time. And one thing I love about my job is that it changes a lot. And so I think that keeps things interesting. But sometimes I struggle. I don't have always maybe all the tools that I think I could use to be really effective. I wish I had a bigger team of people to help me, or I might wish I had a bigger budget so I could do more things. Some of those are challenges, but overall, I feel pretty lucky in getting to do what I do.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any more questions? Marina, you had another question? You can go.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I just thought of a question. But what is one thing that, you might not even have one, but is there something that you wish you had done differently, coming up to this point, anything like that?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that, I think about that earlier differently. I don't know. I feel there are probably things I, might have done differently, but I think overall, I'm pretty happy with the choices that I've gotten to make in my life. I feel every day that what I'm doing maybe is making a small difference for someone somewhere. And I think if you in your life can feel that that's what you do, then that's a pretty good day. If you feel that way. I wake up every morning thinking about what can I do to make that difference. So that's a pretty lucky person. I'm a pretty lucky person that I get to do that. So if I think about things I might do differently, maybe I don't know. I'd have to think. I think I've been pretty lucky. So, but thank you for a great question. I'll probably be thinking about that all night and then have to get back to you.
Kanira, you can go.
So did any people support you for what you are today?
Oh, yeah, I'm very lucky about a lot of people who support me. My mom and my dad, when he was still alive, were great supporters of mine. I feel really lucky, especially when I was thinking about talking to you all today, I was thinking about my dad and how my father, my dad thought I would be president of the United States, and he would often try to find opportunities for me to meet powerful women. And my dad was pretty unique in that he did a lot of things to try to help women be very successful. There's a very famous club in Washington, D.C. called the Cosmos Club. And to be a member of the Cosmos Club, this is hard for you to believe this is even true, but this club was, you could only be a member if you had lots of degrees and they thought you were really smart and really successful in your career, and only men could be members of this club. And women could only come to the club as the wives. If you were married to a man, you could come to the club, but the wives were not allowed to go in the front door. And so women had to go in a back door to be able to go to this club. So my dad helped to change that. He helped to make sure that women could be members, and he also helped to make sure that women could go through the front door. And so he brought, my father was a professor, he brought one of his students who was a judge, and he had mentored her, and she was a judge. She was one of the first people to get to walk through the front door of this club. Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine that there would be a club where women couldn't even walk through the front door? And that was in my lifetime. It was sort of crazy. So I was lucky because I had a dad who he thought girls and women should have great and equal opportunities for everyone. And it hasn't always been like that in my life.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You guys ask really good questions. These are really good.
You're on a roll today. Good job. Pip?
My question is, what's your one piece of advice for a girl to be a leader?
Well, I think my one piece of advice is to stick up for what you believe. And sometimes people may challenge that, but you need to, hold true to what you believe and be strong and be supportive of that. And I will send to Anne, maybe she can share with you. One of my neighbors just wrote this amazing piece. She's 12 years old, and she wrote about what she believes it's important to do to stand up to be a girl. And I actually learned a lot by reading what she had to say. But there's gonna be sometimes people are gonna try to challenge your voice or try to quiet your voice, and you need to have confidence that your voice is important and it matters. So speak up for what you believe in. I think that's my greatest piece of advice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have any more questions, then thank you so much, Mrs. Craven, for talking to us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Savannah. Thank you guys all so much. I can't tell you, this is the best thing I've done. This is so fun. Thank you for inviting me.
Can we all wave goodbye and take a picture? Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Great. Keep me posted on everything. And maybe we can have Kenya come speak to you guys one week, because I know she would love to do that. Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Great. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Savannah, for fantastic moderating there. That was wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and present again now that we're finished with the questions. And sorry, I'm not. The next thing we're going to do is have a mentor-led break activity with Avery. So Avery, you've seen before. She volunteered to lead our stretch break again because we can't get enough of her. She's a member of the Wilton class of 2022, and you guys will remember that she's on the swim team and the dive team and Girl Scouts. You might see her lifeguarding. I had forgotten that she plays the ukulele and that she loves to decorate cakes and explore nature, but that all makes sense knowing you now. So Avery, I'm handing it over to you.
Okay, great. Okay, so I actually have to move my computer a little bit so you guys can see me. I think this will be good. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'll go up a little bit, is first get yourself a little bit of a space and reach up to the sky. This is probably better if you're standing, and wiggle back and forth a little bit. And then go reach down and touch your toes. And hold it for about 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay. And then usually what you'll do next is also you'll spread apart your legs so you're making a triangle. And you reach down to one side. And then we'll switch and go to the other one. Alrighty, and then one kind of fun one, this is one of a yoga stretch, is I'm sure you guys have all done it before, where you make the tree, so you put your little bit of balance here, put your foot by your leg. Here, I'll tilt it down a little bit. And what helps me is, just staring at one spot. So you just put one foot here, and then if you bring your arms up over your head, and see if you can balance, and I have to focus on one spot so I don't fall over. And then stretch your arms up, and you can kind of feel the stretch in your shoulders a little bit. Okay, and then we're gonna switch sides. So then bring up your foot, or if you can't quite make it up that far, you can just put it by your knee too, and stretch. And then just kind of roll your shoulders back and forward, and we're good. Okay, oop, I got something.
Thank you, Avery.
Sure.
I saw so many awesome trees on my screen. I was trying to focus on all the trees and count them all. I saw at least 17. Yeah, way to go. And I feel so relieved. Partly, I think it's the stretching, but also because today feels like the first time that we're not in a hurry. I think maybe it took until the last session for us to figure out how to pace ourselves better. So I hope you guys are feeling that too. That it's a bit more relaxed today. We're going to move on to giving you guys a little bit more guidance and help with your campaigns. So I will go back to sharing my screen again. Hopefully got it right this time. All right. Are you guys with me? Everybody can see? Yes, great. Thank you for that feedback, Pip. Okay, so I'm going to show you something that you have seen several times already. The first step in putting together a campaign is choosing your issue. right? We have talked about so many issues and gotten ideas from you since the very beginning. And I want you guys to think about something. In the very beginning, we started to think and share ideas about issues that were important to you. And I want you to think back to see if you remember what issue you put in that board, in that word cloud, and whether other things have come up, other ideas have occurred to you since then. In listening to all of our visitors, our guests who have come over the last 8 sessions, are there other issues that have come up that you don't see in this cloud? I mean, go ahead and unmute yourself and speak.
Animal abuse.
Great one. Yeah, we didn't even think about that at the beginning. What else? Sydney, I see your hand. Kanira, I see your hand. Go ahead, Sydney.
I think it sort of ties in with the Black Lives Matter movement, but social injustice / inequality.
Yeah, it does. But that's such a great issue, and I hope that you will consider using that for your platform. Kanira?
One issue that kind of stuck out to me was like healthcare and like Black Lives Matter.
They're both really pertinent and really relevant right now. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Oh, Sydney, you have another one?
Yeah, education reform, like how people are accessing like education.
Another fantastic idea. You're going to have to really think hard about what to prioritize for your platform, huh? Great. So we've got so many great ideas here. Any one of these would make a fantastic platform. And perhaps there are other ideas you don't feel like sharing right now. Maybe you want to keep it as a surprise for your campaign. But this was just to give you a starting point. So these are all issues that we've discussed. For more ideas, you can check out this website. We can email that to you all also in the message that we use to follow up after today's session. So the next step, once you have an idea of what you want to use for your campaign, is to really refine and define your issue. Some things are more complicated and they're really big ideas. So it's important to focus on one issue, not multiple issues that are all bundled up together. For example, healthcare is a really big issue, right? And it's got so many different pieces that you could talk about. Maybe it's about access. Maybe it's about cost. Maybe it's about getting COVID vaccines. There are lots of different pieces that comprise healthcare, but it would work best if you're trying to convince people of something to focus on one specific part of it that you think you can have an impact on through your actions and your potential influence. So another thing that you really need to do before you can get started with drafting your campaign speech or even your slides is to research your topic. You have to know an awful lot about this topic. And it doesn't have to be a whole year of research or something, but as long as you know more than other people, you're teaching them something and you can educate them, right? Then impact. You need to consider the impact. How will your issue make a difference in the world or in your community? Is it something that maybe is nice but won't be used by very many people? Or does it have a bigger impact on the whole community? Or is it something that maybe it's only good for a couple, maybe it's something that'll impact a few people, but it would completely change their lives. And then it would have an impact for future generations. So once you've defined your issue, you need to think about how to put it into words that will get people's attention. And in order to do that, like Sarah was saying about the audience and identifying with the people that you're trying to reach, think about who they are. Who are you speaking to? Who's your audience? What are their concerns? What are they worried about? what might impact their lives. You have to get them to care about your issue the same way that you care about your issue. So then, how can you best express yourself? Is it by words? Is it by a little video help? Is there art that might help to add to your argument? What other things besides just your voice might help to convey your idea? And what can you do or say that will get people to support you on your mission? One great thing to do in your speech, or if you're writing a letter, or you're calling a congressman to try and convince them of something, is to give personal examples like Sarah did, right? We wouldn't have known that she went to high school with Barack Obama if she hadn't given us personal examples, right? And now that's changed that's changed our opinion of him for sure, knowing that he scooped ice cream in high school. But as you're giving your examples, think about impact, right? Think about examples of how this topic is important to you, and what stories about your life or your experience could add to your argument to get people to support you. Then if we go back and we think about KP when she came to speak to us, she talked about using simple or precise language. That's something, I don't know if you noticed when Sarah was speaking to you guys, there were a couple times just now when she was going to use a really complicated word, and she stopped herself and she changed and she used a simpler word because she wanted to make sure that everybody understood exactly what she meant. That's really, really important when you're speaking to a group of people whose backgrounds might be different from your own. I think she's used to doing that in her work at the UN, where people don't all speak English, and most people, in fact, don't speak English as their first language. So she tries to use simple speech so that everyone can understand. That's really important to keep in mind when you are public speaking yourself. Now, once you have your speech written, it is so important to practice. Another thing that KP did for us was she demonstrated about when she was public speaking and she was practicing, and it sounded to her like it was slow motion, right? But it always sounds slower to you as the speaker than it does to everybody in the audience when they're receiving and listening to the speech. So it's very important to slow down and pace yourself. And the more you practice, the more consistent your pace will be. It's also a really good trick to listen to yourself by practicing. You could practice in front of a mirror. You could practice in front of your dog or your cat or a baby brother or sister or your parents. Parents make really good audience, by the way, because they're super proud of you and they love to cheer for you because they know you're going to do awesome. Or your friends, they do the same thing. They can be great cheerleaders too. But it's really, it's so true that the more you practice, the less nervous you will be. And if the subject is something that's really important to you, maybe it's something that stirs up emotion and something you care about so much that maybe even the first time you read the speech, maybe it even makes you cry because you're so passionate about it. Samantha Power, who I've talked about before, who was the US ambassador to the United Nations, she gave a recommendation that the subjects that she was talking about were things that she was so passionate about. And it was heartfelt whenever she gave a speech at the United Nations. And she said most of the time when she was practicing her speeches, she would cry or want to the first time or even the second time. It took her 5 or 6 times of practicing before she felt very calm and collected, like she could deliver her speech comfortably without feeling very emotional, but she found she was much more convincing in her argument when her emotions didn't get in the way. So the more you practice, the less nervous you'll be and the more composed you'll be. So I don't know how many of you have seen that Mrs. Cordano has circulated already some campaign speech guidelines to help you. So you can refer to those in the email and we'll recirculate them again. It just gives you some ideas about the duration of the speech, the timing, what you can use. So our election is going to be on Sunday, March 21st at 4 o'clock on Zoom. Now, some of you have been part of this process before, so you know all of this already. But each town elects its own Miss President US. So for every town represented by all of you, there's a potential winner from that town. That means Wilton, that means Ridgefield, Westport, Trumbull. There are so many towns represented here. So every single town can potentially have a Miss President US for that town. Each candidate has a maximum of 3 minutes to give her presentation, presenting her platform. In that presentation, you can include a PowerPoint, a slide presentation if you want. You could embed a video. You could do Google Slides. Maybe there's something else that you've thought of that's a new technology that we haven't included in this list. That doesn't mean you can't do it. That just means we don't know about it yet. If you have a question, please reach out to us and ask. And we're very flexible. As long as we can run it on our platform for running the Zoom, then it's probably okay. So just check with us ahead of time. For those of you who are putting together a presentation, the first draft is going to be due March 15th. And today is March 5th. So that means you have 10 days. And then you'll have two more days to finalize. We might have some feedback for you in terms of potential glitches or something, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. Then we'll also have a dress rehearsal on Saturday, March 20th. We're finalizing the time now. So there's potential for that to change a little bit because we know that some of you have early morning commitments on Saturdays. So we're working to see if we could be flexible with that time. But definitely there's a potential for a dress rehearsal practice time on the 20th, the day before the election. Anyone who's 8 and above who has RSVP'd and has a link will have a login and they can vote for the Miss President winners. If you're running or if you're supporting someone who's running, encourage as many people as you can to attend and to vote, because that's the best way to win, right? Is to convince people to vote for you. So what's next? Some of you have already decided to run. Others of you have decided that you're going to support someone else. If you're considering it, it's not too late. Decide to run. And we'll help you join up with other girls if you want support on your campaign. And you can work together as part of a team. So on your campaign, you need to go back to these principles. We can share this slideshow with you if you want, if that's helpful for you, with all the pointers that we've given you on the last couple slides. So you need to choose your topic, define it, articulate it, and practice your campaign issue, your speech. It would be helpful to review the details and follow the guidelines that we're sending by email. Practice, practice, practice. The mentors are super available and encouraging to help you with any part of all of this, whether it's still choosing a topic or writing a speech, putting together a PowerPoint presentation, or even just listening and practicing and giving you feedback on how it sounds. Other girls, your friends, can also help you and give you great feedback. Sometimes your friends and your campaign teammates are the best at giving feedback as well. And last but not least, you're supposed to have fun. Definitely have fun. This is all for fun. You're not getting graded on it. It's all, it's an after school program. It's a weekend adventure. And it's the best practice for life that you're going to get. It's fantastic practice for public speaking and for actually teaching you how many people are out there who want to support you. You would be surprised if you ask around and tell people you're running for Miss President and you'd like their support, how many people who know you and respect you want to hear what you have to say and want to come out and vote for you. So just like my friend who's the mayor of Knoxville said, when you're nervous about it, tell people what you're doing and let them help you be brave. So that brings us to the end of all the tips. And I wonder if you would like to ask any questions about running or campaign teams or anything like that. And I will turn off the share so we can actually just have a conversation.
I had a question on how people RSVP for voting. How does that work necessarily?
Mrs. Cordano, would you like to respond to that one?
Sure. So it's just like on Zoom. It will be on Zoom. And so we have an RSVP form that anybody can fill out. And once they fill it out, they'll get the link. And then we'll send out reminders and we'll send out, it's coming up, we'll send out the platforms, we'll be in touch with people who RSVP. And we will start, you can share the RSVP that you get, you can create, if you're running for president and you have a team, you might have somebody design a really cool, vote for Gopika Instagram thing with the link to RSVP. Like you can do whatever you want with the RSVP. I pretty much have been including it in things. We're going to send out an RSVP invitation to our entire list this weekend. And so it's also on our website. If you go to misspresidentus.org, in the top left-hand corner, it says RSVP for election. You click that, you can grab that link and send it to whomever you like. And if you ever have questions, email me, text me.
Okay, thank you.
Anaya, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I have a question on how we're going to contact the mentors.
Okay, so once if you fill out the Google form that says, yes, I want to run for president of my town, here's my topic, yes, I want a mentor, I will send a matchmaking letter to your email, your parents' email, and the mentor's email. And if you're having a team, to the team, so that you're all on one email, and suggest that you two figure out, or you 4 or 5, figure out the best way to communicate, whether it's through text or email, and set your schedule.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? I think we have, if there are no more questions, we do have a couple of videos that you can watch to just get an idea of what does it look like when you are running? What does it look like to the audience when you're presenting? And so if we go back to the screen share, we can show you 2 that are just pulled out from the election that we had last year by Zoom. And then you might have questions after that as well.
Okay, so because Julienne's is on the website, I'm going to start with Camille's. Okay.
Hi, I'm Camille Watt, and I'm running for Miss President US of Ridgefield. I'm a 6th grader currently at Eastwood Middle School, and I'm here today to win your vote and inform you about the importance of fitness. Many people in every society don't realize how important exercise is. I'm here today to inform you that everyone needs to take exercise seriously, and that includes you. In these times, it might be hard to get outside and exercise, but it doesn't take a lot to do some exercises from your home. Only 23% of Americans are getting enough exercise. There are effects if you don't exercise regularly. Those include your muscles will get weaker over time, you'll become breathless as you do less activity, as you can see on the picture on the right. Poor fitness can result in long-term health problems and can lead to a shorter life. Not only does exercise prevent you from getting certain health problems, there are also many benefits to exercise that can be seen in everyday life. This includes the fact that exercise relieves stress, boosts energy levels, and helps you sleep better. A study done by the American Heart Association reported that a healthy lifestyle, which includes exercising, can add more than 10 years to your life. There are a lot of varieties of exercise. If going on a run might not be your favorite, then maybe try yoga like my mom. A couple other ideas include swimming, playing sports, and going on a walk. I know we can't play sports together or go to the gym, but everyone still needs to be active. It can be doing a Zoom or YouTube workout or downloading a fitness app. I have already started to advocate for the importance of fitness by starting a shoe drive here in town, and it will run until May 17th. I'm collecting gently used shoes through Souls to Souls. Souls to Souls distributes the shoes to entrepreneurs to start businesses to support their families. Even in these circumstances, people around the world are still walking around barefooted. Children and adults in underprivileged areas do not have access to all the equipment that other areas do in order to stay active. The shoe drive that I'm conducting will provide people in developing countries with the bare minimum that is needed to conduct a healthy lifestyle. If I get elected, I plan to make a Google site and I'll post healthy lifestyle ideas in order to make the best of these uncertain times. People still need to exercise even in these circumstances. And with my website, will hopefully give people the ideas and motivation they need to stay physically active. When the situation settles, I plan to hold workout sessions for a given age group where everyone can join together and accomplish their fitness goals. I will keep making sure people take exercise seriously, and with your vote, I can even do more for the cause. Make sure exercise is very good, and I hope that I earned your vote. Thank you. Vote Camille.
So I'm going to stop sharing for a second so we can talk about some of the things that are really awesome about Camille's campaign platform and her speech. Of the tips that we were going over, what did you guys hear her doing that was really great? Kanira.
She was like being brave and she was like speaking out really loud.
Yes, she was speaking really clearly too, right? What else did she do that was sort of along the lines of the guidelines that we laid out for you? Sydney? I don't hear Sydney. Maybe we can come back if she's still interested in speaking. Pip, I saw your hand go up.
She spoke clear and slowly enough for us to understand her clearly.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she did. Savannah, did you have your hand up too?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say if nobody else, noticed it, she was really confident in everything she said. She said it with a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Her intentions were very, very clear, and I think it's really important that when you're giving a speech, you say what you have to say with enough conviction that you could convince anybody, even if you don't really know what you're talking about, which hopefully isn't the case, but that's the goal.
She certainly did have conviction and power in her speech, right? And one thing I noticed was the amount of research that she had done too. Kavya?
I also noticed that she kept appealing to her audience. She wasn't talking at them, but to them. So she kept saying, like, with your support, with your help, I can do more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she laid out the problem. She gave solutions. She gave people ways to do it. And she had an ask at the end very specifically. What does she want them to do? To vote for her. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to look at one more, which is Julianne's.
Good afternoon. My name is Julianne, and I'm from Wilton. I'm running for Miss President US on the platform of peer pressure. I see being Miss President US as an opportunity to help my community by raising awareness about peer pressure, developing a program for students to help reduce and cope with peer pressure, and to show young women that they can speak out and help the community too. As Miss President US, my first priority would be to address peer pressure. Peer pressure is influenced by members of one's group that can result in either a negative or positive effects, or both. It can have negative effects such as making you feel depressed or angry and rejected, and it could lead to drug and alcohol use, or in extreme cases, even suicide. Peer pressure could be positive too, like giving a sense of belonging and support and increased self-confidence. It can help identify positive hobbies and interests and reinforce positive habits and attitudes. Peer pressure is so common that 90% of teens reported their social status was boosted when they gave in to peer pressure. When you give in to peer pressure, it means you do what your group tells you to do. When you don't give in to peer pressure, you can get more targeted than you were before. Peer pressure is important to me because I've experienced it firsthand, and it's not fun. You feel like you have no choice at all in your life. You feel like if you don't do what they say, it'll make you unpopular and weird. I will help my community by raising awareness about peer pressure and developing a program for students to help reduce and cope with it. The idea of the program is it would help you give you strategies to deal with peer pressure in your life through games and activities. Another component is that you could go to a lunchtime talk group and talk about your experiences and how to deal with them. Some schools already offer a lunchtime talk group. One of the things I will do, regardless of whether I win this election, is to help start Miss President US in Wilton, to help girls build their self-confidence and find their voice. The Miss President US program has given me more confidence and helped me find my voice. I think it could do that for other girls too. Vote for me, Julianne, for Miss President US Wilton.
So Julianne also, oh, Marina, do you have your hand up?
Oh, sorry. I was just going to mention something good about Julianne's.
Great. Kick it off. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I erased it too early. But I really like how she also appealed to her audience, and she made sure that she could like relate with what she was saying, which made it seem more real and important. And it was really important, and she was very outspoken. So yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Kanira, I saw your hand up too.
Liked how she used like pictures and stuff to like actually like explain what she was saying and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So you don't have to do just videos, you could do photos, and they don't have to be photos of you. They could be photos that you take that are stock photos, right? As long as they illustrate your point. What about the topic that she chose? Is that something that's relatable? I'm not seeing a lot of feedback now. All right, guys. These were given to you as examples because they follow a specific pattern that the girls in these videos, in their speeches, they laid out an issue, they gave a potential solution for it that they were going to do themselves. And at the end, they sealed the deal by saying, vote for me for Miss President of my town. So they gave clear instructions to the audience about what they were going to do. Okay. I think you get the picture, right? You have a basic idea of how a campaign speech can go.
May I just say, also notice that they only used their first name, and I would encourage you to do that as well. We're just going to use first names, and I will say in the email that I send, the format that you send your whatever presentation in, it's by your town, your first name, and then your topic, your campaign platform. Just so we have some uniformity there.
One other.
Did you see how they were raising their hands?
Exactly, yeah.
That was the little clue to the Zoom Meister to advance the slide.
Because it's a webinar and we have somebody behind the scenes who's running the slideshow. It wasn't because they wanted to raise their hand all the time. Okay. All right, ladies, does anyone have any questions about the speeches, the structure, the plan? No? Feel free to reach out to us after today as well. We are absolutely available and excited to hear what your plans are and what your platforms are. And with that, I'm going to hand over to the mentors. All right. Was it Maya who put this slide together?
Actually, Hersha. Yeah.
We just wanted to say on behalf of all of the mentors, good luck, and we're all here to help you. And I'm sure if we share our emails or any other way to contact us, if you have any questions after this session or anytime before the election or even afterwards, we can answer any of your questions and help you with your campaign. And after even Miss President ends on the 21st, maybe help you get involved in other groups until Miss President starts again in September. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. It could be about the campaign, anything else, to any of the mentors, not just me.
Okay. Megan, do you want to go ahead and go?
Sure. Okay. So you are braver than you believe and stronger than you seem and smarter than you think. That's from Winnie the Pooh. You can accomplish anything you put your mind to.
Thank you. And Avery?
I said good luck to a group of conscientious, fun, and good-spirited girls. You all shine so brightly.
Bella?
Yeah, sure. So I just wanted to say good luck, guys. You were all so amazing. It was so nice meeting you. And always believe in yourselves because you got this, and your speeches are gonna be like so amazing. I can't wait to hear them and just see what you guys put together.
And on behalf of Maya and I, we wrote it in one. No matter the result of the election, just remember to follow your passion, and the issue you choose, you can still help try to fix that in our community, even if you don't win Miss President. So just remember to follow your dreams.
Hi, I think you should be able to hear me now. I'm not sure. I'm on my phone, but I just want to congratulate everyone. You've done such a great job this year, and I know that it's all going to pay off. So congratulations in advance, and I can't wait to see what you guys all do.
So the last thought we wanted to leave you guys with was that going through this process, it's a challenge. It's supposed to be a challenge. And you've all got this because you are all superwomen. And hopefully you feel like you're that girl because you are that girl. And I know that all of these great ideas that you have will make an impact where you are and beyond. So thank you for being with us, and we are super excited to see you at the election on the 21st.